Greetings everyone, my name is Rejnols, and today I am not talking about Warhammer. If you are a current subscriber and you're wondering what happened, why am I not making Warhammer content anymore, I'll leave a comment pinned at the top quickly explaining the situation. But for anyone new to the channel who's watching because they like Star Wars Unlimited, welcome. Today we are going to play a few games on Karabast using the new leader from the Shadows of the Galaxy expansion. And this is a deck I have made myself. I am in no shape or form saying that this will be a meta deck, that this will be the best of the best. I just really enjoy making my own decks and testing them out, figuring out, okay, what works, what doesn't work, so on and so forth. And that's what we're trying to do today. So we're playing Cunning Gar Saxon. Or Saxon, I'm not sure how you pronounce that name. And Gar Saxon is a pretty cool leader because he has a passive ability that simply gives every upgraded unit +1 attack. Now, if you didn't already know, upgraded units or anything with an upgrade attached to them, or an experience token or a shield token, because those are also considered upgrades. So I was looking through the different colors and trying to figure out, okay, what aspect actually has, the most shielded units, the most give out XP units or tokens or whatever it may be. And I landed on Cunning. Is this correct? I'm not quite sure yet, but I've been trying it out and it's been working decently. So let's quickly go through the deck and talk about what we've included and why we've included it. First and foremost, snapshot reflexes. So there's this thing about upgrades in Star Wars Unlimited that makes them a little bit hard to play, and that is that you spend your entire turn using them. Right? So you play something on turn 1, let's just say a crafty smuggler, and then you'd give them, Luke's lightsaber or whatever. And then your opponent uses Power of the Dark Side, and you've now wasted a unit with an upgrade and it's just gone. Obviously, this can still happen, but one of the good things about snapshot reflexes is that you instantly get value out of it because you also get to attack with the unit you attach it to. Now, getting +1 power and +1 HP is not amazing for one. Then you also get to attack with it, however, that's pretty good. Then you include the +1 power you get from Gar Saxon because you are upgrading a unit, and all of a sudden, snapshot reflexes becomes one resource, attack with +2 power and +1 health, which sticks around. Now that is pretty damn good. Moving over to the Cartel Spacer, this is simply a decent space unit. As you might notice, I don't have any other turn 1 plays in space except for Cartel Spacer, and I don't even really want to play Cartel Spacer turn 1. I'd rather play maybe turn 2 or turn 3 to exhaust something on my opponent's side. But it's a decent ship and you don't go completely wrong with playing it turn 1 if you don't have any other options. Then we of course have Crafty Smuggler. He's shielded, which means he's upgraded. So he's just a 2 resource 3/2 with shield because again, Gar Saxon giving him that +1 power. Follower of the Way, very much the same. He gets +1/+1 when upgraded. So when you throw on something, whether that be an experience token or a shield token, he becomes a 2/4 from his own ability. Then he gets +1 power from Gar Saxon, and then, whatever bonus he gets from having the upgrade, the experience token, or shield token. Then we have our first upgrade, which is Mandalorian Armor, and this is where I need to say that this is actually not part of the deck normally. Normally, instead of Mandalorian Armor, I would have Jetpack, which you can see in the sideboard right now. However, Karabast hasn't completely updated all of the cards and implemented them yet, so currently Jetpack doesn't actually work. It does not give you the shield on play, and it doesn't work as a smuggle card. So for now, I'm just using Mandalorian Armor as a stand-in. So if we play it on a Mandalorian, it's obviously going to be +2 power, because Gar Saxon, +3 health, and then a shield token. For anything else, it's just going to be 2 resources, +2 power, +3 health, which is, quite decent. Dr. Evazan is a 2-cost 3/3 with shield, which means that he's actually a 4-power unit. He obviously has the downside of the bounty that gives free resources to your opponent if they have any available to ready. But usually the amount of value or just damage on the opponent's base you can get with Dr. Evazan makes up for this. Power of the Dark Side is just a really good removal. You don't get to choose what the opponent has to remove, but we have a lot of units with shields. So often we can, attack something, we lose the shield, they lose the unit. And then their next play, whether that be, a Boba Fett or a Luke Skywalker, whatever it might be, we have Power of the Dark Side to just instantly remove it because they don't have any other things to remove from the board. 7 Fleet Defender, I feel like I'm just going to repeat myself here a little bit, but it has shielded, which means it gets +1 power, which means it's a free cost 4/2 in space with shield, which is pretty damn good. Next up is the client, and I'm a little bit unsure if he should be in the deck, but again, he has shielded, which means he gets +1 power. He has a potent ability, but even if we don't use the ability, a 3/5 shielded 4/3 is, it's decent. It's basically a Boba Fett with a shield. Obviously, after he attacks and loses that shield, he no longer has that +1 attack. But then we can start using him as a regain 5 health when we're attacking enemy units. So I figured he has a spot in the deck, but this might be something where you just decide to take Boba Fett instead, just to have a free 5 on 3. Takedown is another great removal. We haven't quite gotten to that card yet, but Rival's Fall is also a great removal card, and honestly, if you wanted to take 2 takedowns and then 3 Rival's Fall instead, I can see that as well. I just figured this deck is more about the mid-range style, and so if you want to establish a board and you need some help with that, you might want to use Takedown over Rival's Fall, because Rival's Fall is more resources and a bit more expensive in terms of keeping it in hand. If you draw it turn 1 and you just sit on it all the time, you don't ever really get to use it. That's why I went for 3 takedowns over 3 Rival's Fall. Then we have the Darksaber, another upgrade I'm not entirely sure should be in the deck, especially right now, because if Darksaber, if the card I want to use alongside Darksaber was working on Karabast, I would probably include it some more, and that card is Fen Rao. Fen Rao has on play, you may play an upgrade from your hand and it costs 2 less. And then if you upgrade Fen Rao, you get to give an opposing unit -2/-2. However, this card is not implemented on Karabast yet, and so it doesn't work. So right now, the Darksaber only really has a spot for either Follower of the Way, Gar Saxon himself, Super Commandos, and that's really it. So as I was saying, in this deck right now, because those other cards are not working on Karabast, you probably don't want to use Darksaber, but I figured let's just keep it in there for now. Then we also have 4 Lom, 4/4 Ambush, honestly just in the deck because it's a good statted, or rather it's a great 4-cost ambush card. 4/4 Ambush, 4/4, it's just pretty good. That's it. This one is probably going to be a personal inclusion. It is Gideon Hask. I just really like the playstyle of Gideon Hask. Well, not the playstyle, but the effects you end up getting from Gideon Hask, where you just hand out experience tokens. And I figured, you know what? It just works so damn well with Gar Saxon, because in theory, the first experience token you give to anything is not a +1/+1, it's actually a +2/+1 because of Gar Saxon's ability, and I figured that would be neat. However, I could also totally see you using, well, basically anything else instead of Gideon. Super Commando Squad. Do I need to say this again? He has shielded, which means that he's a 5/4 for 5 with Sentinel as long as he has that shield. When he no longer has the shield, he loses Sentinel until you give him an experience token or an upgrade. But yeah, again, just a good statted card for our leader. Next up is Clan Saxon Gauntlet. I'm a little bit unsure about this one. It's mostly like a space defender kind of thing, but it also gives out experience tokens when I am attacked. So you can throw this out at the same turn as your opponent might be playing Fett's Fire Spray. The Fett Fire Spray attacks into the Clan Saxon Gauntlet. You give the experience token before the attack resolves. So you yourself give the Clan Saxon Gauntlet +1/+1. It becomes a 5/6. But then you also get the +1 power from Gar Saxon. It is now a 6/6, and that actually kills Fett's Fire Spray while staying alive with 1 HP. And in other matchups where you're not facing Fett's Fire Spray, it's a decent wall that also helps you put out those upgrade tokens on other units to activate Gar Saxon's ability. And so I figure it's a decent inclusion. It might be a little bit too slow at 6 resources, but for now I've included it in the deck. Then we have Rival's Fall, nothing to say here. 6 cost, remove anything, just pretty damn good. Count Dooku, you can guess what I'm about to say. He's shielded, and he also defeats something, that's just pretty nice. And then finally we have Chimera, shielded, and on attack can discard a card from your opponent's hand, or at worst, you get to look at what your opponent has in hand. Chimera is probably not the best of the Star Destroyer cards, but I figure it's decent. Right now, I obviously don't know a ton of cards from the set, by name anyway, or knowing, what people are including in their decks. So right now it might be on the weaker side, but once you learn, oh, this type of deck usually runs this card. I should probably name that card, and you have some late game finishing as well as keeping your board safe from a super laser blast kind of type unit. Alright, and that's the deck. And then just, the quick reminder, again, Jetpack not working on Karabast, therefore we're using Mandalorian armor instead. Cargo Juggernaut is something I would probably include instead of maybe either Clan Saxon Gauntlet or Gideon Hask if you just don't like using those cards. And then Fen Rao, again, not working on Karabast. You could probably replace either, again, Gideon or the Clan Saxon Gauntlet for 3 copies of that. Alright, and with that out of the way, let's head over to Karabast and find ourselves a game. Alright, we're heading into game number 1, and actually this is game number 2 against the same guy, but I didn't get any plays turn 1, turn 2, or turn 3, so he offered to just rematch, and I said, thank you very much, let's do that. Just to make sure we don't have to restart once again, I am just going to keep this mulligan, even though it might not be the greatest. We at least have a turn 1 play, so we'll keep that. I don't think we need double Client against Palpatine. Probably, honestly, Client is probably not going to do anything for us in this game. Dooku is a bit too late to keep in hand, so we'll resource those 2 cards and get going. I have not played against Palpatine, double green Palpatine before with the new cards, so I actually don't really know what he's doing, but I assume he's playing a ramp control deck, and we'll just have to take it from there. So let's see, what should we resource here? I think it might just be Dooku again. It's going to take a while before we can even play him, and assuming he's playing a control deck, it's going to be some big cards coming out, so we don't really gain a ton from that. So we'll just go ahead and play the Client here, and he's probably just going to... Oh, he's actually going to trade. Okay, I guess that's fair enough. He didn't want us to potentially upgrade that and get a bigger card. What should we resource here? Probably a Gideon. You got the Super Laser Technician. You can either, just swing with it, or you can use Palpatine's ability to also draw a card. I used to play quite a bit of Palpatine in set 1, so I actually usually prefer to use Palpatine to ping my own guy and then draw a card, and then deal 1 damage. Obviously, you can swing with it first into my base if he wants to. So how do I do this? I can either action, regain some health, and just force him to trade right away, or we can just play, let's just play 7 Fleet Defender for now. Again, a nice 4-2 with a shield. Palpatine having that ability to ping. He decides to simply swing into my face. That's fine. Or not my face, into my unit. I'll just go ahead and kill his right here, just so we have the board cleared. 5 resources, and there comes the Traitorous. 7 Fleet Defender, obviously not getting the +1 attack when he steals it. Still pretty annoying for me though. Nothing to do about that. We'll just have to claim the initiative and move on. What do we want to resource here? We cannot get the exhaust on the Cartel Spacer anyway, so we might just go ahead and resource that one. We're gonna go for maybe a little bit of a risky play here, and I'm gonna throw down Gideon Hask. Don't think he'll play anything I can kill, but if he does, then we can start getting out those experience tokens, and that can get pretty wild pretty fast. Is he going to give 2 experience tokens to the 7 Fleet Defender? He is. Oof, that is going to hurt. Nothing we can do about that right now. That is okay. We'll simply claim the initiative. If he doesn't play any units this turn, we could, in theory, put a bounty on the 7 Fleet Defender and then Power of the Dark-Sided. And that might be the best play we have right now. I kind of want to keep the Forlom in hand if I need the ambush to kill something, but we do also have the Snapshot reflexes to do that, so maybe Forlom goes into the resource pile. Alright, we start. Let's try what I said before. Let's try and put a bounty on the 7 Fleet Defender. Let's see here, 7th Fleet, just so he knows. Not that I have any other options. Okay, he just swings with it, that's fine. We'll Power of the Dark Side, we'll heal for 5, that's pretty cool. We get to give an XP token. Yeah, as I was saying, true. I completely forgot Palpatine came out now because he is at 8 resources. That's okay. How do I want to do this? We can Snapshot Reflexes, swing into Palpatine, and then we'll die, which doesn't sound great. He still has 8 resources, which is a lot. Could also just deploy Gar Saxon. Let's go ahead and deploy Gar Saxon for now. Let's see what happens. Alright, he actually kills that to deal 1 damage. And then he kills his own guy, so I'll give myself an XP token to make sure I survive his attack. Yeah, I think he didn't quite think about that, how that worked. Yeah, that seems a little bit silly. That's fine. We get to kill Palpatine. I'm gonna go ahead and put another XP token on Gideon. Yeah. Not experience token on Gideon, so he cannot just ping me with Palpatine to kill off Gideon. He needs to actually do something more. He plays out the reinforcement walker. That's fine. We'll claim initiative. And honestly, we're not in a bad spot right now. It's looking pretty good. We'll go ahead and resource the 7th Fleet Defender and just focus on the ground arena. So we have a few options here. We can either swing into the reinforcement walker and not kill it. But I think the better play is Super Commando Squad. And then hopefully he doesn't have anything to remove it. Could also just put a Darksaber on, well, either of these guys. I mean, it is value because we can get it back on Gideon. But I think it's better just play a Super Commando Squad for now, get that Sentinel up, and force him to use some kind of removal if he has any. There is the Overwhelming Barrage. I didn't think about that. That's actually really bad for me. He's going to kill, well, everything except for the Super Commando Squad. Alright, that might actually just be GG right there, removing all of my stuff, and I don't have Sentinel right now. Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, I was thinking like, what removal does Command have? And I completely forgot about Overwhelming Barrage. He's resourcing. He's playing Vanguard Infantry. That is interesting. All right, Count Dooku finally arrived. A little late if you ask me, but it's fine. I think the Darksaber just needs to go now. We can just juice this guy up, but chances are he is going to be able to kill it. We get a shield with this, +2. Yeah, I think Darksaber just goes in the resources. As I was saying in the introduction of the deck, I think Darksaber has a spot in this deck, but it is with Fen Rao, because then you can play it for 2 instead of playing it for 4. So we need to go ahead and put this on Super Commando, otherwise we are starting to get beaten. Kind of sucks that he gets to just swing with the Vanguard Infantry, remove the shield, and then give an XP token to the Reinforcement Walker, but I can't do anything about it. Yeah, no, this is probably GG. I don't really have a lot of answers here. He's gonna keep healing, and he's playing a Great Dragon, which I absolutely have no answer to. Yes, this is probably game. Just gonna go ahead and let him know as probably GG, but let's see it to the end. I don't like conceding just because I'm in a bad spot. I kind of want to see, how the game turns out. Yeah, so I just all the things I have right here is more or less unplayable. Well, actually not. Dooku is actually amazing here because I get to remove that, and then trigger order. I would like the shield first. Thank you very much. And then he gets to deal damage to either wait, huh? My shield. What happened there? Let's retry that. Did I just mess it up? Oh, this is first now. Sorry. Yes, I messed up. There you go. So we do the shield first. There we go. Now we're talking. But yeah, he can just decide to remove the shield. Honestly, why wouldn't he just? So that was a mistake on my opponent's part, because he could have just dealt that damage to my base and then attacked for 10, and that would have been 30 damage, and then the game would be over. But we'll play it out. Double Great Dragon. Okay. I am gonna call it here. GG's. Yeah, double Great Dragon. Ain't no way we're beating that. GG's. Alright, not a great first game for this deck. To be fair, we didn't really draw a lot of our early game units, which is where I think the deck kind of needs to, start. You need to have that, what's his name, Dr. Evazan, or even the Smuggler, Crafty Smuggler. Those kind of cards are needed to give the deck a good start. And yeah, it's mostly mid-range focused, so when you reach that late game against control decks and they just play the big cards, you're probably going to get your ass beaten. Anyways, let's head over into game number 2. And we're into game number 2, this time against Vigilance Han, which I also don't think I've seen before. We have a decent amount of early game choices to play from here, so I think I am not going to mulligan. He's obviously going to play some more expensive units, but they're also going to be taking some damage from his ability, and we can probably take a decent amount of advantage of that when using our shielded units. So I figure our resources are going to be something like Chimera and Cartel Spacer, and then we have a decent amount of answers to most things he can play. So he actually starts out playing Val, which is a pretty good card. I don't think her ability works yet, so we'll have to wait and see, because I think she's one of those cards that are added to the game, but not implemented. We'll have to see. Alright, now let's go ahead and throw away the Follower of the Way, because we don't have any upgrades in hand anyway, so it's not really a great card for us to use. They're playing the Concord Dawn Interceptors. I'll answer with a 7 Fleet Defender. And then he has the option of either hitting base or getting my shield out of the way. He decides to get the shield. Probably not a bad idea. I'll hit the base and call it there and pass. Yeah, I have a suspicion that he's going to be disappointed when Val dies and he doesn't get to put out the XP tokens. I don't think the card's been implemented yet. So I know what he's going for, but I just don't think it's going to work the way he thinks. Which I feel a little bit bad for him, but so be it. Dr. Evazon, a good card, but I think we're already past the point of wanting to play him. We want to play him like turn 1 or turn 2. So we'll put him into resources, and then we'll see what he is going to do here. He's playing Queel. Again, I think he's going to be really sad when he finds out that it's not going to work the way he wants to. Let's go ahead and remove that blockade. He's now playing Queen Squadron A-Wing. We don't have an answer to that. I think I'm just going to Forlom and ambush into Queel. Get that out of the way. Yeah, he's going to take Queel, and yeah, he's not getting the XP tokens. The card's not implemented yet. Obviously, this should now be a 3-5. But yeah, it's not working. So yeah, it should be a 3-5. I'll try and see if I can deal with it in a way I would have dealt with it if it was a 3-5, but otherwise we'll just play it out because, yeah, my deck's also not optimized because I'm using cards that I wouldn't normally use because the other cards are not in a functioning state on Karabast yet. I feel like we might be able to just switch over to a bit of a space race net right now. We have the Gar Saxon Gauntlet, we have the 7 Fleet Defender. So I think that's what we'll be aiming for. He deploys his Han Solo. That's okay with me. I am going to go ahead and use Snapshot Reflexes on the Smuggler just to hit his base for 4. And then force him to make a choice of hitting my base or taking out the Smuggler, but then taking a decent amount of damage on Han Solo. Let's see what he chooses. If he doesn't choose to remove my Smuggler, my idea being that I can deploy Gar Saxon and then I can swing with Craftly Smuggler and get that back, but he didn't want to let me do that. That also makes sense. I'll simply claim initiative here. He gets to play a card from his hand, potentially a 6-cost card, but he doesn't. He just saves all of his resources. Interesting. We have options here. We have options. I think we're actually going to throw away Snapshot Reflexes, even if it is really good. Whatever he's going to play next, we can Power of the Dark Side. And then whatever he's playing again after that, we can Power of the Dark Side. Oh, maybe it's Cloud. No, it's just Gar Saxon Gauntlet. I can remove, so I can go ahead and remove Han Solo. He's out. He can no longer pay anything for cheap. He's playing Gentle Giant. I can go ahead and remove that. He now has no resources, no ability with Han Solo. I can deploy Gar Saxon, swing for 4, and then going into next turn, I have Snapshot Reflexes in hand to basically kill anything he puts out. I will keep the Cartel Spacer and resource the Crafty Smuggler. So what is he playing out? He's putting out Chewbacca, killing off that. That makes perfect sense. I don't think I want to swing into this. I can deal 6 damage, but it has, what is it called? It has grit, so I don't want to make it any bigger than necessary. I'll simply Snapshot Reflex Garson, hit the base for 6. And then, you know what? We will just play the Cartel Spacer just to put more pressure on him. And we'll take it from there. If Chewbacca now swings into Gar Saxon, we have Count Dooku to finish him off. And while we haven't hit 8 resources yet to play our Chimera, I think I am not going to resource any of these. Both of these will be good options for me, depending on what he plays. So let's see what he ends up doing. Right, we'll just pass on the resources. All right, he plays Fell the Dragon. Yeah, I think he missed the part about non-leader. That's probably the part he missed. All right, well, we now know he has a Fell the Dragon, which will work on Dooku, but not on Clan Saxon Gauntlet. Rivals Fall. All right, that makes sense. Probably just going to take out Gar Saxon, unless he's doing something weird. Yep. I will just swing with the Cartel Spacer and see what he does. He might just swing with Chewbacca. Yeah, he just swung with Chewbacca. That's fine. He has 2 resources. He's probably just going to claim initiative. I am going to go ahead and play Clan Saxon Gauntlet. And then hopefully he doesn't really have an answer to that, and we get to swing at his base and win the game. Let's go ahead and resource the Cartel Spacer. Yeah, let's see. All right, there's the Luke Skywalker killing off the one card. That's fine. That's okay. We'll swing with the Clan Saxon Gauntlet. He claims initiative. Interesting. I'll go ahead and play Dooku out. Pass and pass. Yeah, because by claiming initiative there, I think he kind of lost the game. Because I don't think that he has a way to remove both these cards. He can remove one of them. Yeah, exactly. He removes one of them. I hit this base. GG's. Alright, so game 2 was obviously a lot better than game 1. We were also playing against something that is a bit more, well matched for our deck. He was playing like a kind of mid-range Han Solo deck instead of like an aggro deck, which it might work. But yeah, I hope that this game showed a little bit better how this deck plays compared to the first game against Palpatine. All right, let's do at least one more game, maybe two, depending on how long the next game takes, and we can talk a bit about the deck afterwards. Into game 3, we go this time against another Han Solo, but Energy Conversion Lab Han Solo. Our hand is looking pretty damn decent, so we'll go ahead and keep that for now. We don't have a ton of turn 2 plays, but that's okay. We will go ahead and throw out one Dr. Evazan when the game wants me to, one Evazan, and probably the Clan Saxon Gauntlet. We'd rather have the lower cost utility of Cartel Spacer, Crafty Smuggler, and Dr. Evazan for now, and then we have a takedown if need be. Dr. Evazan, turn 1, a 4/3 shielded is just pretty damn nuts if you ask me. He's playing a Battlefield Marine, will claim initiative. Let's see here, let's throw away Follower of the Way because we don't really have any upgrades in hand. And here comes the question, am I the aggressor here or am I the stabilizer? Do I need to take out the Battlefield Marine or do I just need to swing in his base and make him do the work? You know what? That's a question I will answer another day because for now we'll simply exhaust it with the Cartel Spacer. Alright, does he have a 4-cost card he would like to play and deal 2 damage to it? Probably not because we just get a free trade into it. Oh, maybe I spoke too soon. He does play Mon Mothma for 1 and then he gets to draw a Rebel card. What card is he going to get? He got Red 3 Unstoppable, so he can play that next turn. That is a-okay with me. I'll simply swing at base for now. He ends up claiming initiative, not spending his last 2 resources. Alright. Oh, we got another Cartel Spacer. I almost feel bad for it, but not really. I'll go ahead and play that on the Battlefield Marine, most likely. For our resources, we'll just put a Crafty Smuggler down there. We also have the Forlom if he decides to play something spicy that we want to take care of right away. Or maybe he's just, taking his time, which is totally fine. I'll just cut out the silent parts. Don't worry about it. Just more work for me. There we go. He ends up playing the Red 3. So, what I think I am going to do here is I'm going to swing at his base. Then he's most likely going to use Mon Mothma to remove my shield. I will then play Cartel Spacer and exhaust the Battlefield Marine. And just keep the Dr. Evazan in play for a bit longer. So we'll swing base for 4. We'll probably use Mon Mothma to remove the shield. Yep, I'll then use the Cartel Spacer to exhaust the Battlefield Marine. He ends up taking initiative, which makes perfect sense. We'll swing at... Oh, do we swing at Red 3? We probably need to kill Red 3. Nah, you know what? Fuck it. We'll just go for base. We'll play out the Crafty Smuggler, and we'll pass. Our board is looking pretty damn good right now. We even have a Darksaber we could put on Dr. Evazan. Oh, no, wait. Sorry, he's not Mandalorian, obviously. So we cannot do that. So maybe actually Darksaber is what we're resourcing. I am going to be greedy and resource Forlom instead because we have 2 of them in hand and he's a unique unit, so we can't really play multiple of them anyway. Here comes the Energy Conversion Lab with Poe Dameron. Alright, so he's going to get a free swing with Poe into Dr. Evazan most likely, refresh all of his resources, and then he gets to choose if he wants to discard any cards from his hand or not. Alright, there we go. So what was his... Did he decide to discard anything? I don't think so. He simply just swung with Poe. Alright. Oh no, he dealt damage to the Crafty Smuggler because my shield is gone. Alright, okay. That does make sense. That does make sense. So our options right now are to take down Poe Dameron and then let his Battlefield Marine live. We can also ambush with the Forlom, remove his Battlefield Marine, and let Poe live for another turn, which seems a little scary. Or alternatively, use takedown on red 3. I think we are going to go ahead and play the aggressive version where we use the Forlom to ambush into his Battlefield Marine, and then we have something that can kill Poe next turn if he doesn't deal with it. He can, of course, deploy Han Solo this turn as well, and he still has 5 resources, so there's a lot of things that can happen. Let's go ahead and take out the red 3 now, and let's see what his next move is. Probably just deploying Han Solo and then using his ability, or maybe using his ability now, deploying, and then using his ability again. That could also be an option, depending on what cards he has in hand. He goes ahead and plays the Admiral Akbar to take out Forlom. Alright, not a bad move, not a bad move. He has 2 resources, he can also deploy. We'll just swing for base here, swing for 2. He ends up taking the initiative instead of deploying. Alright, we'll pass. Now we're in that spot again where I think Darksaber just becomes a resource. Again, Darksaber really shouldn't be in this deck without Fen Rao, and Fen Rao's not working, so it doesn't make sense, but here we are. He is swinging with Poe. Probably just swing base, discard a card, deal 2 damage to Crafty Smuggler, right? That would make sense. He discards Bright Hope. Oh, he dealt 2 damage to... Okay, he's just attacking Crafty Smuggler then. Just wiping my board. Which is not a bad move. Yeah, he just wiped my board. He has 6 resources. He still has Han. There's a lot of things that could happen here. Let's go ahead and test the waters by playing a Crafty Smuggler out. We still have resources for takedown. Here comes Han. Let's go ahead and deploy Gar Saxon. Alright, decides to just swing at base. How do I want to do this? Do I just want to claim initiative? I think claiming initiative right now is not the worst move, but he has 6 resources. Something scary could happen if I just give him it. I think we'll try and claim initiative and take it from there. I don't like it, but we'll try it. Ooh, yeah, he had Wrecker. That's going to be 5 damage onto Gar Saxon. He can't kill him, but that's still pretty bad for me. Still pretty bad for me. He took out the shield with the Crafty Smuggler. Alrighty. How do we get ourselves out of this pickle? We don't have enough resources for Chimera. Forlom can ambush in and take out Poe. Or we could also just use the Crafty Smuggler to take out Poe, which is probably the better move. Yeah, we're going to be at 7 resources. This hand kind of stinks. At 7 resources, this hand kind of stinks. Give this to Gar Saxon. He becomes an 8/5. Still dies to Poe and that. So, yeah, I think our best move is just to resource the Darksaber. Swing with Crafty Smuggler into Poe so he doesn't get a free trade into Gar Saxon. And then kind of just take it from there. Alright, he decided to use Wrecker to swing. We have the option of using Takedown or Forlom. I think we'll just use Takedown to remove him. And then we'll have to pass the turn there. I think the one thing we have going for us is that I think he's very ground arena focused. And we get to play Chimera next turn. Don't think he has any great answers for Chimera. So we might just be able to get this done. Let's go ahead and resource Mandalorian Armor. We'll play out the Chimera. We need 2 turns of attacking to win. He needs 2 turns of attacking to win. No, actually, wait. No, I lost. I definitely lost this one because he's going to swing for 8 now. So, sorry, 8, 12, 14 damage. I'll be at 26. I don't think there's any way out of this one, ladies and gentlemen. I think he got us. Oh, wait, he might just finish it just right now. Why didn't he use it on Admiral Akbar for +2 damage? That, what? Okay, that seems like a mistake. And in any case, it doesn't really matter. The game's over. Damn. All right, he got me. He was able to take control of the ground and finish off the game. We'll just for fun swing for 10 here. Name the card in chat. I will name Fleet Lieutenant. Fleet Lieutenant. Do you have a Fleet Lieutenant? Ah, it was a Green Squadron A-Wing. All right, but that game was actually pretty close. I'm wondering, did I have a chance to deal 5 damage to the base that I didn't? I swung with the Cartel Spacer at his red 3 at one point. That would have been 2 damage. Was there any other time I could have swung at base for more damage when I didn't? That wouldn't, of course, have lost me the game earlier. I'm trying to think about that. GG's to this dude. GG's. I'm trying to think if there was a moment, but I don't think there was. I think we did we did things correct. That's always easy to say, but I think that was about how it was going to go. Alright, so that was the Cunning Gar Saxon deck. Obviously, as I said, not something I know will become meta, and it'll definitely not be this version of the deck, because, well, we're just testing things out as we are. Few things I need to say right away. Once again, remember that this deck can be made better. This is not the best of the best version of this deck. Already, just by adding the Jetpack and Fenrau, you have a much stronger deck, in my opinion anyway. But I just didn't use them because they don't work on Karabast right now, and there's no point in using cards that don't work anyway. Second of all, some of you might be watching this video and be like, you don't have enough upgrades in this deck. But you gotta remember that using an upgrade costs you an action. And so you really need to just choose when to play an upgrade card very carefully. Therefore, I think it's better to play a unit that has a built-in upgrade, like Shielded, or play units that are able to give out those upgrades while they're doing something else, such as Gideon or Clan Saxon Gauntlet. Because if you start adding like a ton of Resilient and Mandalorian's armor, whatever other upgrades are out there that don't do anything immediately as you play them, you'll first and foremost find yourself drawing a lot of upgrades and no units to play them on. And secondly, you'll start building this Voltron, giant mech unit just ready to destroy everything, and then they play Power of the Dark Side, or Takedown, or Rivals Fall, or hell, even Super Laser Blast if you're late into the game, and then all of that is gone. So I totally get the fun idea of wanting to play a ton of upgrades on a few units and then just have this big monster. The game just isn't really meant for that. If the game was, I use all of my resources and then you go and then we end, maybe that works, but the game is, pass, back and forth. And that's probably good. That's one of the reasons why I play Star Wars Unlimited and I don't play Hearthstone anymore anyway. I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't play Magic the Gathering. Those games are, first and foremost, seem to be like super duper complex with all the cards that are in the game by now, as well as all the mechanics. But also the whole, I'll take my turn, you just watch, and then I'll let you know when you can play the game kind of situation. Anyways, that was my Gar Saxon Cunning deck. Let me know in the comments below what you liked about the deck, what you'd like to see changed, what changes you will make yourself maybe, or just, what decks you've been playing in anticipation for the Shadows of the Galaxy set. Alright, thank you so much for watching, and until I see you again, I hope you have a wonderful time.